But I didn't. I kept.
This is the same one he looked at it last time. I didn't have him look at it this time.
So I was in a hurry and I set my printer up and I said,
And he worked on the,
back to back.
Guess they're gonna have Gilmore.
what's it?
So it's, no, it's,
I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah. But still, I mean.
Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sorry about that.
pushing both up. My arms get, I
Can we
got
have
two
the roll
longer
call,
arms.
please, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Burt. Present. Supervisor Miller.
Here.
Trustee Klee.
Present.
Trustee Campbell. Present. Treasurer Anderson. Present. Clerk Triplett here. Trustee Favdal.
Present.
Thank you.
Are there any additions or deletions to this evening's agenda? Didn't think so. Are there any corrections to the minutes from the last meeting, April 3rd? Hearing no corrections. All those in favor of approving the minutes signify by the sign of aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Alrighty, the minutes stand. We'll move on to public comment. If you'd like to address the board, I'd ask that you'd come to the podium and state your name. You'll have 4 minutes to address the board.
That's the first time I ever did this, I don't know if I'm doing it right.
You're, yes, that's right.
So, my name is Suzanne DeSisto.
Spell that first, please.
Sure, my last name,
Yes.
DESISTO.
Thank you.
Like I said, this is the first time I've ever been here, and I have went over to the building place, and I just wondered if you come to this meeting about the code violations of some of the houses that are in the neighborhood, and do you guys have a copy of it, or are they, because they're not being enforced of what I know, of what I'm thinking in my mind should be. There's a lot of blatant down off of Graham Road, and I've been there 35 years, and it just seems like it's getting worse. A lot of it's not being addressed. Houses that's got tarps over them, that don't have roofs, siding's falling off of the houses. Where do you go with this? I mean, so I guess that's what I'm asking, so.
Yeah. The next step would be building department. Night. You can call, you can come in, you can walk in.
Can you get a copy of the ordinance of what's up? Okay, so,
Yeah.
okay, because I didn't know if you come, because I have been over there and it's just like nothing's been done, and it's sad because I've lived in my house for 35 years and 3 things have kept me in the township. The police department, the fire department, and my house is paid for. Them are the 3 things. And it's sad because I'm really at the point I want to move, because I'm putting money into my house and fixing it up, and I'm not going to get it out. So I didn't know if I could address that here or.
So public comment is a chance for you to speak to the board. It's not a
Okay.
question and answer, so
Okay.
you won't get any information. But your next step would be come to the building department, and if you don't get it resolved there, this would be, you can call me, or this would be a good next step.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else like to address the board? You can start anytime you want.
My name is Gerald Roberts. Live in Flint Township. I'm going to ask a challenge. I'm a veteran. I'm conservative. And I'm a Christian. And I know this whole room probably is filled with probably 95% Democrats. I want to give you a challenge. Anybody that's out here, try to convince me why you are a Democrat and why you feel voting Democratic is the right thing to do after the state of what our country's in right now. And I'd like you to kind of just try to convince me where you're coming from. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
You're welcome.
What challenge?
If there's no one else who'd like to address the board, we'll call the we'll bring the public comment portion of our meeting to a close. At this time, I would like to introduce everyone to our newest County Commissioner, Dr. Beverly Brown.
Thank you, Supervisor Miller, and good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to be here. This is my first time doing this, too, and I've only been a county commissioner now for about 2.5 months, and so I want to thank you for having me here to introduce myself. I used to live in Flint Township. I now live in the city of Flint, and I represent all of Mundy Township, part of all of Grand Blanc Township, and part of Flint Township. Your other commissioner here is Dale Wayhill, and I think you've had a chance to meet him already too. So I wanted to come here and just kind of talk a little bit about something that you may not be aware of. I've been learning a lot since I've gotten into county government. I've never run for office or anything. I'm a educator. I was a banker before that. Tom Clee and I used to work together at the Skills Center quite a while ago. But I learned a lot about county government in the last couple of months. So I wanted to share a little bit of that with you because this month, April, is National County Government Month, whether you knew it or not. And so I want to highlight just a few of the effective and innovative county programs and raise public awareness so that you're aware of some of the things that are being provided to the community. I'm doing that in the context of an acronym, RISE: Resiliency, Inclusion, Solvency, and Empowerment. So I'll start with resiliency. If you're in this room, you survived COVID, right? So you're resilient. Our Genesee County Health Department was at the forefront of the county response. To date, the health department has administered over 85,000 doses of the vaccine to county residents and continues to offer the vaccine to those that are interested. Our website, GeneseeCountyMI.gov, provides weekly updates of locations for vaccination clinics. And our Genesee County Land Bank had started, maybe you saw the press release last week or the press conference, starting the demolition process across the county as part of a $45 million demolition partnership. So if that property that you referred to earlier gets to be really bad, you can go to the land bank because we have $45 million in the county to start demolishing those properties. This is a project that's a collaboration between Genesee County, the City of Flint, the Mott Foundation, and the State of Michigan to address all the blighted properties that are owned by the Genesee County Land Bank. So it's anticipated that over 2,500 of those properties will be demolished as a part of that program. It'll be coupled with other cleanup efforts by the land bank. 66 community-based groups will complete more than 25,000 vacant property mowings and cleanings, and they will clear 155 tons of garbage from vacant lots and load them away in the land bank dumpsters. The second thing I want to talk to you about is inclusion. The Board of Commissioners facilitated meetings with representatives of the deaf community to assess ways that we could better serve and collaborate with them. For example, this month we offered interpreters. We just hired interpreters who are available to sign during our commission meetings. This will allow the deaf community to better understand and engage with our county commission sessions beyond just seeing the agenda and beyond just reading the closed captioning feature. Members of our board also surveyed township supervisors about what they wanted to see in the appointment of new members to the Genesee County Road Commission. We understand that their voices should be included as a part of this decision-making process. Townships are most directly impacted by the work the Genesee County Road Commission does, so it was only right that we consulted with our supervisors during this process. At the same time, we made history by appointing 2 African Americans to the Genesee County Road Commission last month, and we're striving to be even more inclusive. Solvency. Counties have 2 major responsibilities. First, to administer services as an arm of the state. Examples of this includes maintaining circuit and district courts, upholding state criminal laws through our prosecutor's office, maintaining a county jail. I was in the county jail for the first time last month, and I've lived in Genesee County for 35 years. We also administer elections through our clerk's office, securing county funds through our treasurer's office, filing land records through our Register of Deeds office, and working with our Drain Commissioner on water supply and wastewater collection treatment. Secondly, Genesee County operates a local government. Services through our health department, senior services, veteran services, and animal control are just a few of those examples. All of these items are provided for by the budget that's developed and adopted by the County Board of Commissioners. Our budget, just like your budget, is a statement of our values. And as the 5th largest county in Michigan, our total budget exceeds $300 million with a general fund of $113 million. This year, our budget was enhanced with 2 different funding sources. We received nearly $1.5 million in opioid settlement funding, which will be used to fight that epidemic. Our marijuana tax has been increasing from $280,000 in 2021 to $1.4 million for 2023. These funds complement our existing ARPA funds of more than $78 million, all of which has to be allocated by the end of 2024 and then has to be spent by the end of 2026. Our board is focused on ensuring continued financial responsibility while delivering services to all of our residents. This is no easy task. Hard decisions will have to be made, but my colleagues and I are up to the task. Finally, empowerment. Many people don't know that well over 50% of domestic litigants in Genesee County are self-represented. In fact, there is only 1 legal aid attorney for every 5,400 eligible Michiganders. Genesee County has a law library. I just found out about this too for the first time. We have a law library paralegal who is primarily used as a resource at the county law library located on the 2nd floor of the courthouse. Whether it's needing help with name changes, finding forms, or guidance on domestic issues, this is one way that we seek to empower our residents who want to self-represent during legal proceedings. So in cooperation with Genesee County Circuit Court, the Board of Commissioners are working to enhance this service for residents that are representing themselves. These enhancements include partnerships with Legal Services of Eastern Michigan, the Genesee County Bar Association, and expanded space for residents within a new library space at the Genesee County Courthouse. These efforts will help improve better outcomes for those who find themselves engaged with the court system. So let's celebrate National County Government Month this April through resiliency, inclusion, solvency, and empowerment. All of these things help make Genesee County a really nice place to live. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions after. I'll stick around for a little while longer, and it's a pleasure to meet all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Brown, can you give us the boundaries of your new district?
I knew you would ask me that, so I brought my map with me. So if anyone would like to see the boundaries, it's really, okay, so there's a little corner up here of Flint Township. All of this white space here represents, and maybe you can see.
Coming down.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Okay, so my district is number 4, which is all of this white space in here. So up here in District 8 is Commissioner Wayhill's district. So if you look at the very top, the north side of it, it's bordered by West Court Street, goes down to Nedra Street, which is a couple of streets over from Ballinger, then comes down towards Bristol Road. The airport happens to be in District 4, my district, and then South Linden Road comes down here, and then everything below Maple Road down here is also in my district. So if you'd like to take a closer look, you can feel free to take a look at the map. I'll be here a little bit longer. Thank you, Tom.
Yes, ma'am.
Nice to see you too.
Thank you very much for that explanation.
You're welcome.
I know that the district boundaries were redrawn last election, and
Right,
you have a lot of new things to get acquainted with.
right. Yeah.
And thank you for being here this evening.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Appreciate the information. We'll move on to reports. I just wanted to mention a couple things. We've gotten a lot of phone calls in the office about the garbage pickup. So our garbage pickup is Thursday, 7 a.m. in the morning is when it begins. They ask you to have your stuff out by the curb by that time. And yard waste pickup started the first Thursday in April and will carry on until the last Friday in November. If you have any questions on what can or cannot be recycled or picked up for yard waste or how any of that works, just give the office a call and Rose would be glad to answer the question. It's also available, the information's available online. And there's a schedule, but it's every Thursday. And there are 5 holidays that would delay the pickup. Yeah. New Year's Day, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, Thanksgiving Day, and Christmas. 1, 2, 3, 6, right? So those days would delay your pickup till Friday. I'll read this too. You're supposed to place the yard waste in a brown yard waste bag or in a plastic 30-gallon container clearly marked yard waste facing the street. Branches are to be no more than 2 inches in diameter, no longer than 4 feet in length, and must be bundled. Bundles and containers must weigh less than 50 pounds. No tree stumps or trunks are accepted. No compost will be accepted in plastic bags. And as far as recycling goes, no plastic bags are recyclable. Recycling bins are available here at the township. You don't need to sort recycling items, and you can activate an account to keep track of your recycling. Anyway, these are available in the lobby there if you have any questions or want information. They're also available online. And then these are also available in the lobby there and online. We have a park and trails. And they're open from sunup till sundown. And there's some rules that you can look at. We just, this last year, partnered with Swartz Creek to extend the Genesee Valley Trail. And our portion of that trail goes from Norco and Dye Road down to Dye and Miller Road. And then Swartz Creek portion picks up and runs along Miller Road and goes to the Elms Road Park. Is that the name of the park over there? Elms Road Park, right? So I don't think it's officially open yet. I think we're going to have a ribbon cutting on that. We've discussed that. They're doing some restoration, so it's walkable, but it's not officially open yet. Anyhow, if you have any questions, you can call Rose here at the township or go online also. I think that's all the information I had for my report. Madam Clerk, do you have a report this evening?
Actually, Genesee County is going to be having a recycle day, and the dates is May 9th through the 23rd, June 13th through the 27th, July 11th through the 25th, as well as August through the 22nd. You do have to register for this. We'll try to have this online in case someone has interest in wanting to, participate, because you do have to register prior to showing up for recycle. That's it.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, Treasurer, do you have a report this evening? No. Are there any trustee reports? No? Go ahead.
One is with the recycling, you're supposed to clean your items. They don't want garbage in the, like an orange juice container, it's half full, throw it in there. They would like it rinsed out, because it affects the machines. Huh?
Pizza box is the same way.
You can't
Yeah,
throw-
pizza boxes.
You're not supposed to
grease.
recycle the pizza box because of the
Because it has
grease.
the grease in it, right?
Yeah.
Even though it's cardboard, but they'd rather be crushed up and put.
Online, they have the items that will be accepted and the items that's not included as well.
recycled there, yeah.
Yes. And they also will give you the event time and location. Thank
Okay.
you.
Any other trustee reports? No? Go ahead.
This Saturday, the 22nd, we are going to have a dumpster at the senior center parking lot in the very back, the Carmen Ainsworth Senior Center. And it is going to be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and you are going to be able to bring your cleanup or your yard, whatever you want to get rid of, other than hazardous waste, and there are no tires. We will not be taking those. And then you'll be able to get, I think, free sunglasses.
So no paint cans, right?
No paint cans, none of that. No, yep, that's hazardous. You can save that for the county, county cleanups on Tuesdays. And there'll be a hot dog lunch, and I hope it doesn't rain. And then we'll be following up with Pick It Up on the first Saturday of each month. We're going to pick an area where we are going to be actually going out and picking up.
What do you mean? What do you mean going out and picking up? I don't know what you mean.
What do you You're going to be scheduling,
Oh, it's trash pickup, like along, Graham Road or, different subdivisions. Let's see, where do we go?
We did Ballinger Highway,
organized volunteer pickup.
Yeah.
the
I
trail.
couldn't spit that out very
did the
good, that's
trail
what I
one.
mean, yeah.
So then the dumpster, you can just reload our stuff in the dumpster?
We will be there,
Or does somebody take it and from it
correct,
and put it
yeah,
in?
there'll be volunteers there.
If anybody has a question, Barb, can they give the senior center a call? You have the phone number?
We're just using their parking lot, they're not really
Oh, I
involved in
see.
it.
So don't call.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so if we're done with trustee reports, we'll move on to staff report. Mrs. Tucker, do you have a report this evening?
Since the last meeting,
I was keeping my mouth shut. I was told to keep my mouth shut tonight.
Nobody told you that. Go ahead, sorry.
since the last meeting, we had a ZBA zoning board of appeals meeting where they had one fencing issue that was approved. We had a planning commission meeting last week where we had the new build for the e-commerce center, 100,000 square foot building space. That was approved. New cell tower, that was approved. We had two rezoning issues that were postponed. We had the Dollar General at the corner of Beecher and Elms Road that was denied. And then we had the project at Bristol and Vance Lake by Precision Holdings that was approved. We also had Next Michigan Development Corporation, the I-69 International Trade Corridor, is doing their DC fly-in this week. And so we'll be leaving tomorrow to go to that. And we have meetings scheduled with the U.S. Department of Transportation, Slotkin's office, McLean's office, Kilde's office, Senator Peters' office, Senator Stabenow's office. And then we have a congressional reception where we invite them to attend. Last year, I think we had, or the last time we did this, I think we had 30 senators and representatives there. And then we do a multi-state dinner with the Mexican and Canadian ambassadors. So those will be important meetings for us to be a part of. This is basically, we go down there and we talk to caucus members. We have representatives from all of the states along the I-69 I-69 expressway. The point of this caucus is to go down there, talk to them about the portions of I-69 that need to be completed so that we have a completed route for the trucking to get from Mexico to Canada. That's one of the largest used expressways for trade is I-69, even though it's not complete. So they're trying to get that completed, and so we're hoping, I know that they did get money for the bridge that that separates Kentucky. I think it's Kentucky and, no, it's Indiana and Kentucky. And right now, I-69 ends there at the river, and you have to go a long way around to pick up on the other side of the river that you can see from where it ends, which is interesting. But they did get funding for that the last time we were down there. We're hoping to get some more funding. They did get funding for the new the crossing at the bridge at Port Huron. They got the travel center, couldn't think what they call it, but the travel center there. They did get 25 million in commitment for that, but they're looking for more funding from that. And so hopefully we can get that done too, because that backs up for hours on end coming into the United States more than going out. So that's one of the things we're working on. So that's what I've got so far. Oh, and the RFPs went out for the generators, the emergency backup generators. Those were sent out to the minority, women-owned, and disabled employers. Also, it's going in the paper this week, and so we should be getting bids on those in the next few weeks. That'll come back to you for that. That's it.
Thank you. Chief Salter?
Yes, thank you. Since our last board meeting, we've responded to almost 1,400 calls, which is about 102 per day average, which is up from last board meeting, which was 88. So of course, the warm weather brings everybody out and we get more calls. Also, that number doesn't include 139 traffic stops, 78 business checks, and 56 residence checks. Also, we had a homicide on April 3rd. A 31-year-old was shot and killed. The charges were brought against a 36-year-old suspect, Nicholas Hetzer, who lives in Davison, for homicide, felony firearm, and carrying a concealed weapon. There's also been quite a few different crashes within the last 2 weeks. Mill and Beach, we have a driver of a Chevrolet Trax lost control and hit an MTA bus. Only 2 people were on the bus at the time, including the driver, and the one passenger on the bus left before he got there, and the driver was okay. But the driver of the car suffered injuries and went to the hospital. Next, we had a crash at Lennon and Utley, where a driver of a car lost consciousness and crashed into the bank right there in the corner and almost made it all the way through.
Drive-through.
One of the workers was injured and transported to the hospital, and the driver was transported to the hospital by the family. Over the weekend, we had a fatal crash on Bristol Road in front of the airport. There's reports of a reckless Dodge Ram driving west on Bristol from Fenton Road, and within moments, we had another call for a crash. The 24-year-old driver of the truck collided with a couple that just left the airport. The couple is okay, but the driver was pronounced deceased at the scene, and this incident remains under investigation. I want to take this time right now to thank the fire department. With the limited number of resources that we have and as busy as we are, they've been a tremendous help on our injury accident calls. I mean, without them, the safety of our first responders, the people involved in the crash. So I want to make sure I say thank you to them. By doing that, it also allows us to start responding to more crashes. It clears us a lot faster. And some good news, Officer Sleeve and Officer Knapp are done with their training and are now on solo patrol. So that's a bit of good news for us. And I have one item for the agenda.
On to me. Thank you. Since the last board meeting on April 3rd, we responded to 52 calls. This does include 2 structure fires in the last 2 weeks. Several of the accidents that Chief Salter already mentioned we responded to as well. The Mill and Beecher incident, the vehicle that crashed into the MTA bus was also on fire. So we did extinguish that fire and assisted the police department with a traffic control out there for quite a while. Also with the bank incident, we did respond along with them to that call as well, and they did almost create a new drive-through there. Supervisor, you're absolutely correct. We did assist with getting the one a patient out of the building, and also securing our utilities, making sure that the power and everything was turned off for safety purposes until that could be evaluated. On April 7th, we responded to a structure fire in the 3000 block at Dayton. This call was in the middle of the night. We arrived to find heavy fire coming from almost the entire house upon our arrival. We did request assistance from Flushing and Mount Morris Township fire departments as well. There was extensive damage and a lot of overhaul work that needed to be done on that incident. We were on scene for approximately 3 hours on that call. The cause of that fire is under investigation at this time. On the morning of April 8th, so the next morning, we were called to a garage fire in the 1500 block of Ryan. We arrived to find a 3-car garage, almost completely involved with fire. Luckily, we were able to keep the fire away from 2 neighboring houses, and the only damage was contained to that garage and several vehicles that were in it. That we requested assistance from Flint City and Swartz Creek fire departments as well. They were a huge help, and we were on scene for about 2 hours there. That fire appears to be an electrical fire, and that garage was unfortunately a total loss in that incident, along with 2 vehicles. We have seen an increase over the last week or two. Now that the weather is getting nice of, vegetation fires, grass fires, things like that. It is still pretty dry. This rain has really helped us out. But up until this point, the undergrowth and things like that are still really, really dry. So please be careful if you're burning. Make sure that you're calling us beforehand to get a burn permit. It's that time of a year. So please call us 810-732-4413 prior to burning to make sure that you have a permit. If you're not familiar with the rules, they are on the township's website and I believe on the fire department's website as well, or just give us a call. We'll be happy to go over them. But we have seen an uptick in those calls. Our new brush truck that we have in conjunction with the police department has been put to work a few times here in the past week or two, so that vehicle is working out really, really well. But please be careful. Make sure that if you're burning, you have a water source, and that fire is always attended. That tends to prevent most of our issues from happening. We did complete interviews and physical agility tests for entry-level full-time firefighters last week. We did have 9 candidates successfully complete that process. And as a reminder, it is that time of year that we're always looking for on-call firefighters. We have an academy starting up later on this summer, early fall. If anyone you know is interested that lives in or near Flint Township, we are always looking for firefighters on call. We pay for your your training, equipment, gear, all of that stuff. We're really looking for some help. Call volumes are going up significantly, so we can definitely use some help. We have no action items on the agenda for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any committee reports? Sure.
JW.
Good evening, Board. My name is John Whiteside, Secretary of the Road Advisory Committee. We had our meeting last Monday, and Mike Pfeiffer brought us up to date on all the projects that the Board's already approved, and Supervisor Miller also informed the Advisory Committee of the Maple Road project that the Board approved last meeting. We did have 4 residents speak, and they attended the meeting because they had concerns about the roads. The one is Murphy Road, and if you don't know where Murphy Road is, it runs off Pasadena, south kind of along I-75. It's a gravel dirt road, and they were they want to look at what a special assessment would cost to turn that road into a paved road. Mike Pfeiffer said he'll get some estimates to them. They said they did a survey. I believe they have talked with Supervisor Miller about this in the past. They said they reached out to all 29 residents and they're in favor of it. They just want to know what's going to cost. So those 2 residents spoke. A resident spoke about Scottwood Avenue. That's off Fenton Road. It goes down towards, where Otto, Fenton, and Bristol is. The road goes out to Fenton Road. And he said the last 60 feet of that road has 78 potholes in it. On both sides of the road, there is parking. He said everybody who drives down the road goes into the parking lots and then back on the road to avoid all the potholes. He had pictures. I actually did a Google look. You can still see them, and last time Google Maps went down the road. We did have a resident from Staunton Drive. And Staunton Drive is an area of Linden and Maple. And we have talked about roads in that subdivision in the past. Staunton is one of them. Dixon, Sawgrave, and Wheatland were the primary 4 roads he was talking about. And he was wanting to pursue possibly a special assessment to fix those roads. We did explain to him that sometimes we're able to fix, if it's a minor fix with the mill and pave like we've done in other areas, but it depends on how bad those roads are. And there's actually several more that we've looked at doing. We actually looked at trying to put them on the 2022 road plan. Obviously, things came up so it got pushed down to, I think it was 2021, the 2022, 2023. Now we've got them kind of on the plan for 2024. All depends on money and what other needs arise in the township. So that's really just wanted to bring you up to date. We do have residents that show up, voice their opinions at a road advisory, and we're always welcome to have them attend. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John. So we're done with reports. I know we had heard from Trustee Vert about the clean streets, safe streets. And again, is that listed on the website, Barb?
That's what I said, Karen, do we want to make these available?
It
Yes,
should be.
it is.
I requested it.
Are these available
Yeah.
to people?
Great.
It's on the calendar now, too.
Alrighty.
Are these available to people? Okay, sorry.
Number 8, payment of bills, Madam Treasurer.
Yes. Trustees should have received the roster of the invoices. I'd like to make a motion that we pay invoices in the amount of $99,906.49, as well as acknowledge tax disbursements that went out in the amount of $3,414.14, for a grand total of $103,320.63.
So that's your motion. Is there a second to the motion?
Support.
Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk, on the motion to pay the bills in the amount of $99,906.49, please.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Trustee Quee?
Yes.
Trustee Campbell?
Yes.
Treasurer Anderson?
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Favdal?
Yes.
And Trustee Burt?
No.
Do we have any correspondence or informational items, Madam Clerk?
No.
No. We move on to new business. Action item A is to set the public hearing for the Flagstone Special Assessment District 111. Did you want to briefly address the board real quick?
As long as Siri doesn't help you.
Yeah, right. Good evening, members of the board. It's good to see everybody again. The bids were open for the Flagstone Point subdivision earlier today. They were significantly higher than we had anticipated. Seems like that's the way the prices are going, is up, 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 and they keep going up. But anyhow, some good news was that we are going to get some more money from the Road Commission to help offset that. And I think Paula today, she put together the assessments. And what we need to do tonight, we need to schedule a public hearing for April or May 1st. And also, all the notices have to be sent out tomorrow to all the people that are affected by the project. So the construction plans were completed and approved by the Road Commission, and it went through the bidding process the last couple weeks. So where we need to go now is we just, we're going to look at some issues with cost here, I think, in the next couple weeks, just see if there's anything that we can do. But at this point, we need to go forward with what we have. And so that's where we stand right now. Any questions?
Who was the lowest bidder?
Oh, Ace Saginaw Paving Company was the lowest bidder, and they only got 3 bidders. That's another thing we're seeing today too. There's just not enough companies that are bidding the projects, and there's not a lot of competition, and that leads to higher prices. So it's pretty much affecting everything, unfortunately.
Mike, how are the costs divided?
They're going to be divided. Well, basically, you have the total bid price, and then we also have to add contingencies on in case something unforeseen happens during construction, and then design and engineering costs have to be added on. But that makes up the total project cost. But then the Road Commission will pay for all the engineering costs, so the residents township doesn't have to pay engineering costs at all. And also, there's a new program that the Road Commission has instituted. I think this is the first year where they're contributing up to 10% for the cost of an assessment project. And luckily, they didn't use all their money, so there was some extra money, and because our price was higher, we got as much as we could. So we're going to get almost $254,000 that will the Road Commission will contribute to the project, and the balance will be Flint Township through the millage. It will be spread out over the course of 10 or 12 years, whatever the bond is. Well, it's not going to be a bond. I think we're looking to borrow internally from the Sewer and Water Fund. That's something the board is going to have to consider, but it was very expensive to go through the bond with the not only the interest rate, but the bonding attorney, and also there had to be some kind of certified financial planner involved. So we're hoping to, with the board's approval, to borrow from the Sewer and Water Fund. Any other questions?
So the total cost that comes to us from the Road Commission, the township through their millage fund will pay 25%. And then the remainder is divvied up amongst all those who benefit, the residents in there. What is there, Tracy, 205
205.
parcels in there?
Yeah.
And we'll vote on that at our next meeting on, go ahead.
Yes, but the resolution that you're voting on tonight to set the public hearing, you do have an option. It asks if you want to, the second item on the resolution talks about that you resolve that the special assessment will be a 12-year versus a 10. So if you want it to, and you could still change it at the next one, but I'm just letting you know that that's how it's set up in this resolution that you have tonight, in case you missed that in the second paragraph. But that would make their cost, we had figured that out, it would make their cost approximately, I think it was $750 something a year for if they did 12-year versus if they did 10 years, it was $897.50. So yeah.
That doesn't include interest, though. There
Right.
will be no interest if it's paid in full to begin with.
Right,
And if someone takes a payment plan, there's interest added.
right.
For the 10 or 12 years.
Either,
Either question I had, may I? Okay, based on this, and you did mention the 12, and when this was pitched to the folks in every one of these, wasn't it put to them that it would be a 10-year piece versus a 12 initially? I can't remember. When the discussion was.
I think we mentioned both. It could be a 10 or 12-year bond.
Okay, because, so they're not, those that
Or
are living
payback.
there are not thinking in the back of their mind, oh, I've only have to pay this for 10 years based on X amount of dollars. And now, if we voted as 12, are the residents going to be hit with something that they weren't aware of? That's my only question.
Well, it would lessen how
Yeah.
much they have to pay
I realize
per
it,
year.
less than totally in each year, but they're going to pay it over 12 years instead of the 10 years. So my question is, if I'm going to pay something and I'm going to know it's off in 10, and that was my anticipation, and now if we vote on it tonight as 12, but they thought it was initially 10, how was it presented is all I'm asking.
They could pay the 10-year. They would just have the option of paying for 12. They
They
can
could-
pay it
I-
off at any time.
No,
You're wondering
I
that
see what you're
since there's
saying.
two
when
more
we
years.
laid it out to them, was it laid out initially as a 10-year program, 0 to 10? Or was it given the option that we might jump into 12? Because if it was 0 to 10, and that's what I heard in my head, and now all of a sudden, oh crap, I got to pay 2 more years? No, I'm not going to pay, it might be I'm just saying, just to clarify so that we don't have somebody out there saying, is that?
I think we said 12. I think we said it would be 10 or 12, that the most recent ones we did were 12.
Yeah, we don't get into a lot of detail, Tom, at the first public
Right.
hearing, because we don't have much to work with. Yeah,
right.
but I think we did mention 10 to 12. It was only mentioned briefly. But I understand your point, but I think that they could probably pay it early if they wanted to.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah.
I'm not being petty, but you know what I'm saying.
No, I
Especially if we
understand.
have
It could-
a fixed
yeah.
income resident who is
Yeah.
anticipating that length of time, however it might be. I just want to make sure that's clear in everybody's mind,
Yeah.
10 or 12. So,
I'm pretty sure we never made a commitment to it, though.
okay.
It was
Thank you.
mentioned,
I'm sorry.
but,
No, that's fine, go ahead.
So we're looking at this 1.5 million to be borrowed from?
no, it's actually, with the updated figures, it's 1 million, 840,000.
To be, so it'll be a 12-year repayment to the sewer and water?
And that,
It's either that or we'd have to bond, but it's kind of late to
2.4
bond
million.
now.
I'm sorry?
2.4, you're looking at almost 2.5 million, aren't you?
Yeah,
You're
no,
talking
but
about
that's the total. No, that's the
ours
total.
and the residents'
No.
costs?
No,
Well, I see he's got the road commission is going to pay for some things, and I'm just
Yeah.
trying to see what the bottom.
that's the total cost. The bottom line is 1,839,916. That's the price that the residents have to pay without interest.
That's the amount you're saying that,
The residents.
The
I'm
re-
looking at what we're talking about borrowing from the sewer and water department. That's
Right.
the, I
And
heard
the
you say
town-
that. What
and-
number is that?
2.5 million.
No, that's the total construction
That's
cost.
us, no, that's 1.8 for the balance plus 697,000 is 2.4, right?
But you,
Right, those two, is that what it adds up to be?
Yeah, that's what she's
Okay.
asking, what's the
Yeah.
township portion?
The
plus
townships,
resident
the
portion, right?
township's portion is almost 698,000, and the residents' portion is 1,839,916. It's a big project. There's a lot to it.
Is included in that what you mentioned, the 254,000 roughly from Genesee County Road Commission, is that coming off this number?
Yes.
Already?
Yes.
It's already come off that number?
Yes. The breakdown, I can give you the breakdown if you want it.
Is the one?
Is it in here?
The one
Am I
on, the one.
overlooking something?
No, the one online
It
is
just
not,
came in
that
today.
we have, has been adjusted. It has, this one has not been adjusted, Lisa. That's why I'm trying to follow both pages, the printout and the other.
Do you want me to make copies of that for you?
I've never, this is the first I've seen it.
I just did it at like 5:30.
Because that,
You guys
yeah,
want
Yeah, I would
copies?
like a copy.
I heard that number and
come
I'm
up
like,
with
wait a minute, it's
You
not
want this
jiving.
back, Trace?
No, I'll just print it.
Okay, thank you.
No
Or
problem.
email it to all of us right from there if you can.
Do we have any more questions for?
I have a question. So this is new to me. And so does the township have a choice? Do residents have a choice? I mean, is it an established neighborhood? I don't know the neighborhood, but,
Well, yeah, first of all, a petition had to be circulated.
okay.
And first of all, it was the less formal one. And the assessment doesn't want to put together the detailed assessment roll if, you know, they're not sure it looks like it could go. So on the preliminary petition,
Survey.
the people, you know, were in favor of it.
Okay.
And then the detailed one was drawn up, and then there was a person that walked through the subdivision to get the signatures, and basically there were more than 53% of the subdivision that agreed to it. And based on that, the board decided to proceed with the project. Plus, during the first public hearing, there wasn't really anybody that voiced a lot of negativity about the project. There were a couple of people had concerns because they would be going to be selling their house or something like that, but it wasn't like they were up in arms against it. And the subdivision, they're the ones that brought this to the township because it's a newer subdivision, but the roads basically were destroyed by the builders when they built the road, and so now we want to try to save it before it deteriorates beyond repair, and we have to replace the whole thing.
Thanks
So
for
basically, this
clarifying.
is for all the roads in the entire Flagstone Point subdivision.
So Deb, the 10 roads that we did, the commercial roads,
Yeah.
we initiated those SADs, which is a different requirements. This is where the residents themselves signed the petitions and submitted it. They want their roads done. Have you lived in the neighborhood the whole time? 1999?
It's 1996.
So
What's the main crossroads?
Boulder Drive is the main road that comes off of Elms Road.
Okay.
And then it intersects Flagstone Drive, which goes northerly to River Road. So there's a main entrance at River Road and Elms Road both.
Thank you.
And there's 204 platted lots. There's one exception in there. And Tracy, I've got 206 parcels. Can't we also assess the large parcel to the south that has all the vacant land? They could be assessed also because they have frontage on the end of the roads.
I don't set that up. That was set up by the assessor as to who benefits from it, so.
Oh. Well, I think they could be assessed if it's not too late. There's a big acreage parcel land at the south is for the future development of Flagstone. Preliminary plans have been drawn up for it, but it hasn't went. But it's more of a possibility now because all the vacant lots have been built upon. But I think they would also benefit from the project because they have access to it. But that's what I had with my figures anyhow. But maybe for some reason they were not included. I'm not sure.
How much is the cost for this bonding and everything? You said it's too costly. This is the first I'm hearing that we were going to sewer and water to borrow.
Karen got the figures, and I believe it was like between $40,000 and $50,000 between the financial expert and the bond counsel. So it's pretty significant.
any other questions? No?
When will we make a decision on that?
At the
How
next
it's going to
meeting.
be?
The next meeting.
Okay, because have we talked to Kevin McIntyre?
Yeah.
Because there were some issues last time when we did the borrowing from the sewer and water and what it did to our budget, what it made it appear as if the way it had to appear on the books. It was not a good.
Well, that's how, we got grants for the roads. We got $1.2 million grants for the roads, the 10 SADs that we did. And everything comes in as a revenue under general fund. So that money would come in as revenue, and then it goes out to pay for the project. So there's no other way to account for it. So I understand what you're saying, but that's, I mean, we've talked with the auditors. They've helped him set up the accounting for the assessments that come in. There's, I don't know of any other way to do it. And the auditors have guided us.
On this new project?
No, on the
Right, but there were issues on that last one with the.
Only because it shows that when you bring that revenue over from sewer and water and put it in our general fund, in order for us to be able to write the check to the road commission, it shows as extra revenue, but it's just a pass-through. So that's the issue. But yeah, that will come to the board at the next meeting. So tonight, we're voting on the resolution for a public hearing, to set the public hearing for May 1st. The resolution's before you. Does anyone care to make the motion?
We would move to accept the resolution as presented to set the public hearing for May 1st, our next regularly scheduled township board meeting.
Is there a second to the motion?
Support.
Any further discussion?
At that point, may I? At that point, any of these residents also are eligible to come and have conversation at that point, and we'll have those open discussions. Will there be not a mailing, but obviously it'll be posted that we're going to discuss this for a minute so that everybody that's in Flagstone and may have a question.
There's mailing.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Notices are going out tomorrow.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure they all had the heads up that we're talking about them.
Any other questions? Any other comments? All those in favor of setting the public hearing for the Flagstone SAD number 111 for May 1st, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? The is set. Thank you very much, Ms. Mike.
Sure.
For being here.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Mike.
Also, Tom, it was posted on the subdivision website, too.
Okay.
Thank you.
So
Internally.
a lot of people are going to find out that way, too.
Thank you.
A lot of people are eagerly following, too. But yeah, they'll be here.
Thank you, Mike.
We should have enough.
There might be one or
This is the
two
first
already here tonight,
Yeah.
Action item
just to keep
B
sure they're on track.
is a FOIA appeal. Did you want to give an explanation?
I
to the
can
board,
start
Chief
out real
Salter?
quick, yes. In late March, we are given a FOIA for a sexual assault report. We replied to the FOIA where we redacted names out of the individuals in that report because the one individual was not charged with anything. On April 3rd, the person that requested a FOIA filed an appeal with us, and therefore the next step in the appeal process is to go to the township board. In the meantime, we contacted the attorney, and what you see in front of you is that letter from the attorney.
Thank you. And so, in speaking with the attorney, she drew up a response, and before us is the decision whether or not to approve that, and if so, we'll send that out. That would be the next step in the process.
Anderson make a motion that we accept the attorney's recommendation regarding the FOIA request as presented.
Is that what you're looking for?
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
All right. Any questions or discussion?
We didn't get the attorney's response.
Did you?
Is it?
I know.
It should be. Let me
The
see.
letter from the attorney,
Yeah.
that was online, I printed off my online, so.
In the packet.
Is this it?
Maybe we don't have it.
Right there.
Yes, here.
Karen,
It's page,
is that it?
Emily?
Yes.
Yes,
right
that's
there.
it.
Page 16.
That's it.
Yeah,
Since it's, oh, you have it?
16, 17, yeah, with Kit.
So this is basically the township board upholding the police department's policies.
Request. Yes, we're supporting them.
Yep. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor of approving the response written by the attorney to the appeal of the FOIA request signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? That stands approved. Action item C is the senior center lease. The last couple of weeks, the auditors have been here, and part of their work was to look at all of our lease agreements. And so, in pulling those together, we noticed that the senior center lease is expired, and Trustee Barb Vert is the representative to the senior center board. Did you have anything to add to that?
Well, I do know that the previous director, before she retired, had paid for a 10-year lease, and nobody seems to have a copy of it. And that date was on 4/26/21. The receipt was done by Peggy Parker, an employee, and it was supposed to go through year 2031. So to me, the lease should reflect that, the date, but here it says 2/25, am I right? I don't know. Tracy? You were looking for it also, and we can't find it.
Yeah,
Right, it's like nowhere.
there was no vote on another lease after the last one expired in 2010. Or, I mean, 2020. There should have been something done in 21, it wasn't. The leases that we've had prior were all 5-year, that's why we put the 2025 date on there, but if you want to put it as 2030, that's completely up to you guys.
It is,
the way
well,
you
it
wanna
says
sell
on the
it.
receipt that was,
Yeah, but there's nothing by the township, there's no lease for that to go with. So I
This
don't know
expired.
where
Do you
that
want to
came
make the
from.
motion and make it a 10-year lease?
make the motion to extend the Carmenese River Senior Center lease till 2031.
25 and add more.
Right? No? Yeah? No?
I see what you're saying.
I got too many people talking.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was
Repeat
listening.
the motion, please.
No, go ahead. I was.
Okay, let's see. All right. To renew the Carmen Ainsworth Senior Center lease through 2031.
Okay, so that'd be the 10-year lease. Right. So there's a motion, is there a second?
One more question. Do we have an attorney?
Hold it. We can't. I'll second that. I'll second your motion so we can get to discussion.
Okay.
Thank you. And yes, these were, when we approved these, Peter Goodstein helped with this and the library lease also.
Okay.
Which, isn't the library lease
The
10-year
library
lease?
lease is done.
The library lease is 10-year, and that one goes through 2027.
Okay.
Because a comment was made is that it's every year for $1, and then it was 5 years. It's like, why not just extend that out?
So
Yeah.
we have a motion to renew this lease for 10 years from 21 to 31.
Can we
And a discussion.
line them up together? If that one's in 27, put them together so that this one ends 27, along with the library?
Or we could
Since it's
just
one
extend the
facility.
library when it comes up.
With further onto that discussion, we have a paid receipt that it was paid for the 10 years dated 2021, and apparently there must have just been and it could be a clerical typo, whatever it might have been, that it should have been to 2031. And if you even, here's something else I looked at, as I was reading through this, I went 2071, and looking at it, the address at Graham Road is 2071.
Yeah,
So
I saw that
if you
too.
really got, if you really got a little, 2071, oh wait, 2031, oh, 2021. So it could have been very much easily a typo in that respect. So it was a 10-year lease to a 10-year. I think we should make that the 31, and the payment was paid. The amount is accepted. And like you said, possibly look at since they're both the same building, bring the 2025 lease into retrospect, bring it into line with this one and have it run till 2031, and then they're both tied together and there isn't an issue.
Can we maybe table this to look at it a little bit more, since everybody's all over the place with what happened?
Did our attorney look at this recently?
No.
No, he did originally.
I thought.
So you're making a
No,
mo-
originally, like, a long time ago.
In
No, like in
Not this
2021.
fiasco that we're in
No.
right now.
11.
No.
When we first did
Right.
this. So you're making a motion to postpone. Is there a second to the motion to postpone?
I'll
this?
second it.
Alrighty, we're gonna have a roll call. No, yeah, I'll do roll call on, a vote on postponing this lease. The motion to renew the lease.
Trustee Campbell,
Yes.
trustee Burt,
No?
trustee Fabdal,
Yes.
clerk Triplett, yes, supervisor Miller,
No.
trustee Clee,
No.
treasurer Anderson.
Yes.
So there's a majority voting to postpone. And we're gonna look at what?
What happened, and what it should be, and what makes sense.
It's $1 a year.
Right, I understand that.
Let's spend that
And
money.
it's expired, so,
Yeah. I'll get a letter from Lynn Radulowski also tomorrow.
We'll bring this back at the next meeting. Alrighty, so the announcements are, our next meeting is May 1st at 6 PM. And if there's no further business and without objection, we'll call this meeting adjourned.